Welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast, where we elevate marketing leaders inside and out. I'm your host, Veronica Rami, master marketer, executive leader, and mentor to ambitious marketing leaders wanting to advance their careers. Each episode is filled with genuine, unscripted conversations with some of the world's top marketing experts, accomplished leaders, and industry trailblazers representing brands, both large and small. Our goal with this podcast and everything we do is to help you master your role, nurture your team, prioritize your well-being, and evolve into an industry-leading Rainmaker. This is the Rainmaker Podcast. Welcome back to the Rainmaker Podcast. I'm really excited for this podcast episode. Number one, this guest is somebody that I had barely just discovered on my own on Instagram and started following because I loved what she stood for. Yes, it's wildly successful, has over 150,000 followers, yada, yada, yada. But more importantly, when we were introduced by chance by a mutual friend, I've now come to know her, and she is the real deal, you guys. Megan, the dietitian, has been helping thousands of women fix their metabolism issues, to get healthier, to lose weight, to do all the things that we want to do without doing all the crap that's not working. And she's the real deal. She's been showing up almost every day on social media for the past 7 years, and she's used organic social media to build a 7-figure plus brand. And she normally doesn't even talk about this stuff. That's not her like normal content playbook, because she's helping women, take back control of their bodies. But I wanted to ask her social media questions. I wanted to ask her marketing questions, and she was wildly generous and vulnerable to say yes and come on this podcast and share things that she normally doesn't talk about. So if you're just starting out like a solopreneur or aspirational want to be preneur, she has really good golden nuggets. If you're somebody who has a team and social media is just not jiving, I thought we also had a really good segment where we talked about team and what it looks like for both of us behind the scenes. It's a really great episode regardless of where you're at in your business journey. But if you're wanting to use social media better, you're going to love this episode. We get into it pretty deeply. So without further ado, please welcome my friend, Megan Hansen, Megan the dietitian from Metabolism Makeover. Megan, welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's okay. I'm so excited. So first things first, you're beautiful, you're Grace, you're Miss United States, you're all the things. I'm in awe of what you do. Not only as a single mother who's just crushing it, but also in how you show up for other women who are really struggling with body image and with their weight and just being healthy and like all the BS that's out there. You know this, I've shared this publicly, like my sister has gone through a breast cancer journey since October 2023. And so I'm paying hyper attention to all things health, this, that, this. And the information that's out there is so frustrating because everybody's calling everybody out. Everything is like high stakes, fear-based marketing. And it's aggravating. It's effective, it works, but it's aggravating. You have successfully built a 7-figure plus business off really social media as your primary driver. And so I really desperately want to pick your brains. I think a lot of people come to me and they complain about 2 areas of their business, of their traffic, which is paid traffic and social media traffic. That doesn't seem to be a problem for you. So I want to pick your brain. So thank you just for being here and being so open, because this is not like your typical topic that you talk about.
Correct. It is not. But I love to talk about it. So
okay, good.
Let's do it.
So let's talk about like your relationship with social media from the genesis, because like, is it something that you were just, I liked it, I enjoyed Instagram as a platform, or is this something that you always saw as a business microphone with business intentions? Because some people, even just the approach to the starting line, I think differs in people who have success with social media.
Yeah, I agree. And I would always see people, years ago who were like, oh, I don't know, I just started this account. I wanted to help people. And then all of a sudden I had 100,000 followers. That was not me. I started it with the intention of, I'm going to build a business. Okay. I was like, at the time, so I'm 38 now, I was like 31-ish at the time. 30, 31, I had just been sort of floating through life. I was bartending. I was a dietitian. I had my license, but I never wanted to work for anyone. And there's also not a lot of money in being a dietitian at a hospital. And I could have made a lot more money bartending. But I finally got to the point where I was like, man, I'm on social media and I'm seeing what others are putting out, and it's amazing. Like all these, especially back then, it was like all these beautiful curated feeds and the blogs and I was like, nobody eats like that. Well, I'm sure some people do. Some people do. Okay. But it's not real. It's not realistic. It's not realistic. And I'm realistic. I'm highly relatable. And I thought, weight loss, which is something I was always really interested in because of my own personal journey,
Mm-hmm.
was something that is extremely intimidating and difficult for a lot of people. And it did start from this place of like, I want to help people, but also I want to make money at this. I want this to be my career. This is what I feel like. I kind of feel like this is what I'm here to do. I had this like a little bit of a feeling. And so I started my account from absolutely nothing. And I was like, let me tell you something about me, V.
Please.
When I decide that I'm going to do something, I just effing do it.
Yes.
And it's not like there's no like, oh, but what if, but do I have limiting beliefs? All day. I'm addressing them all the time. Do I ever say like, oh, I don't know, I can't do it, I have imposter syndrome? 100%. But there's like this driving force behind me that's like, no, I'm going to do this. And it showing up every single day. I'm not somebody that grew my following overnight. I think you can do that. I think there are like, whatever. There's plenty of people out there that are advertising that you can have massive growth, and there's people that do it. So there is evidence of it. But I personally grew my following over time, showing up day in and day out, and having a business, having a strategy for sure, but also just showing up every day because I freaking care. And I come from a place of service. And let me also just say that I have been through some stuff in my life. The last 7 years, I've been through a horrifically toxic marriage, divorce, a massive heartbreak, not for my ex-husband, but I'm, and I'm a single mom, like you said. And so it's not always easy, but it's showing up. It's still showing up and having that self-leadership to every single day be like, man, I'm going to do this because I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, I want to add, by the way, thank you. Like, I love what you see is what you get with you. That from the jump that I got. We were introduced by a mutual friend that we both adore and have very high regard for. And so I think immediately we transferred likability to each other. I'm like, well, I love, Katie, so I'm going to love you kind of thing. But with you, what you see is what you get. And so the fact that you disclose, like, I was intentional. I wanted this to be a business usage. It wasn't just to like, look how pretty things are, which, I mean, again, I think it serves different. I think aspirational accounts serve a purpose. And I think you were intentional about being a service-based account. Like I'm here to serve you and I have to show up to do so and put myself out there. When you started back, 7 years ago, I remember there was kind of like the OGs that were modeling to other potential mompreneurs or us types. Was there somebody that you were emulating or inspired by, or you're like, it wasn't like that? You're like, I'm just going to show and be myself. Like, I'm trying to think of how you even like produced yourself or try to curate how you wanted to show, because there's so many facets of a woman's life, which parts to show.
Yeah, that is a really good question. Well, what's funny about this is when I very first started, I was kind of looking at others out there and what they were doing. Gosh, I don't even know if I'm going to remember their names right now, and I was trying to copy really what they were doing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like
model.
that's what we do, model.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working for me. Weird, right? And so I think over time, I finally just said like, I have to be me. I just have to be me. And I like sharing myself. I like to, it feels very therapeutic for me to use this a bit as an outlet. And not all sales and marketing experts would agree with me and say, you need to keep your account very sales focused, like people don't care about your life, whatever. And I just do it anyway. And I'm not just like constantly spilling my, personal life, but I do like to show that I am a person too. So it's always when I'm sharing something, it's like, is someone going to take something away from this? Like, is this going to help someone, or am I just talking, And so I think it really, I don't think I was at one point, I don't think I was necessarily emulating anyone. I think it was just me.
Well,
Yeah.
because I was thinking back to, gosh, I can't remember. I was just talking to a friend of mine about this, like those early online courses that that you buy, that you swiped for.
Yeah.
And it was for me, first Instagram online education product that I ever purchased was with a woman, I think Hillary Rushford. Do you remember her?
Yes. I never
Yeah.
did any of her stuff, but yes, I
Yeah.
remember Hillary.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then she like affiliated for Marie Forleo. So then I'm
Yep.
like, who the hell's Marie Forleo? So like, but those were like, I mean, years. We're talking years ago now. And so it's funny, like I'm like, who brought me into this world, or who even made me like? There's filters, what? Like it was just so
Yeah.
wild to me. I was so blissfully unaware.
Well, I will
Like,
tell you the first course I did was
yeah.
with Shannon Monson.
Oh,
Little
yep.
a little different, but I have worked with Shannon. She has been my like
Hmm.
long-term mentor on and
Hmm.
off since day one. And I actually just reached out to her again. She's like not even in the space anymore,
Yeah.
but I was
Yep.
like, do you want to come on and
Hmm.
like help me out with a few things?
Hmm.
I'm having some scaling issues. And she was like,
Hmm.
oh, hell yeah, this is what I
Yeah.
do. So we're working together again for like the fifth time. She's helped me. I love long-term
It's funny.
mentorship.
Me and her have DM'd briefly in the
Yeah.
past at some point because like my boss babe experience, her
Mm.
experience. Anyways,
Oh
there was
yeah.
something that we were both kind of mutually going through that I was like, what's happening? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So one of the things that they do, one of my favorite podcasts is the New Heights podcast with the Kelsey brothers. And they interview their guests and they say like, what was your welcome to the NFL moment? Like where you just got blasted on your ass or something, like just really funny moments. You're like, oh, this is definitely the next league. I want to ask a similar question, but it's like, as you were doing your thing, do you remember kind of your it's working moment or it took off moment? Did that happen, or was it always just really like way gradual, just a handful of followers here and there? Or did you have that moment where it was like, oh shit, something took off?
Yeah, I did, but it's a very interesting story.
Okay,
And
okay,
not, I don't know if it's always necessarily relatable, but I got in contact with Heather McMahon,
okay. Like
comedian.
from the WWE?
No, I don't think it,
Oh,
maybe no,
okay, okay.
anyways, she's a comedian. Doesn't matter.
Okay,
She's
okay,
from
okay.
Atlanta. She reached out to me and she was like, I need help. Can we trade? And I don't do trades, but I was like,
Oh.
God, she has a lot of followers at the time and whatever. And so I was like, okay. And we started working together. She's amazing. And she posted about me like one time. And I
Mhm.
woke up in the morning and I had made it was my first $10,000 launch, essentially just because she posted about me. So that was a lot of luck, but it was also, where it came from though, that was like a big set off point for me. And her best friend, who was absolutely not famous, was just one of my one-on-one clients. And at the time, I was just really building my business and she got me in touch with her, and sometimes the right people. And I had
Yeah.
been praying, I was like, I need a miracle, because at the time I was broke. My
Yeah.
ex had been stealing from me and
Yeah.
all the things. And here comes
A
Heather,
little tender mercy.
my little angel. But I will say that at that time I had created Metabolism Makeover, which is my now like my signature program.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was the creation of that program. And I feel like this is important. I feel like a lot of people, they create a course or some sort of program, and you run it a few times, you polish it off, and then maybe you move on to the next thing.
Sure.
Man, I ran like Facebook boot camps with that thing, live boot camps for a year
Mm.
before I ever turned it into a course, before I ever polished it, before I ever did anything. And it's the only thing I did for 2 solid years.
Oh, I love that.
And I think that's really important
Mhm.
because it helped me learn so much about myself, about my program, and about, most importantly, my clients and the
Mhm.
people that I was needing to serve. And that has helped me so much in my marketing, because
Mhm.
you can't market anything to someone if you don't know exactly
Mhm.
what their pain points are and what you're helping them solve. And that's not possible to do, I don't think, without just reiterating over and over and over and over and over again. So
Mm.
that was my fun little blip. But I think even without that, I absolutely still would have grown the business to this size just by doing that.
Sure. Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I mean, it's funny. So you're one of our guest expert speakers at my Making It Rain
Yeah.
event later this year in September. We're doing it in DC. And I'm opening up that 2-day marketing workshop with kind of like a state of the union because why I'm in DC, why not? And
Why
like,
not?
let's get a little presidential. But I was like, what's working in marketing? What's not working in marketing? One of the things that I'm putting in what is working in marketing is audience intimacy. Like, if you don't know your people, if you don't know your people's bra sizes, like I'm talking intimate. Like I think in corporate marketing, you would say like audience segmentation, audience data, customer segmentation, but like, sure. But like I'm talking intimate. If you don't intimately understand what your people are going through, their lives that they're leading, the feelings, like the emotional palette that they're drawing from, what they're telling their spouses at 10:30 at night in bed, like I'm talking intimate, right? Like if you don't have that level of deep understanding in one of the shittiest economies and where trust is just like obliterated by everybody in the highest positions of power, like that's what works. And you discover that because you put in the reps,
Yeah.
even before the 2024 clusterfuck that we're experiencing today. So kudos to you. I want to ask you though, because again, I'm a marketer. I can't unsee the world in marketing lenses. You're a dietitian. You went through a health journey, health transformation yourself. Cool. But there's so many different positions you could have taken with your services. You chose metabolism. Metabolism became the anchor. Metabolism Makeover, and like even your content today about how we as women who are trying to get healthy actually damage our metabolisms by accident. Like it's just plucking genius. How did you figure out that the metabolism was the unique selling proposition? That was the position, that was the thing that you were going to help people, own again and improve again. Like I just want to understand how you can, because as a dietitian, correct me if I'm wrong, you could have done a lot of things in a lot
Yeah.
of different ways.
Yeah. Well, I just felt like everyone was approaching health from, it was either a standpoint at that point of we're doing something extreme,
Uh-huh.
we're dieting. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's what I learned in college. Like
Yeah,
put
same.
somebody
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
diet, right? Like easy, okay.
Yeah.
Or it was very this intuitive eating approach, which is also amazing. But I have such a science brain, and I was like, yeah, but like what if you just want to have Snickers all the time? And I know if any intuitive eating person listening to this is like, that's not how it works. I get it. But I saw it a lot with people. They would start this approach and they would gain weight and they wouldn't feel good. And I was like, well, can't we have both? Anyways, I started my one-on-one practice and I just sort of, I was like, I just want to help people. Let's just like throw it out there and see what comes in. Well, all of these women were just like me, right? They were all dieting. They all knew how to count macros. They all knew how to work out. They were majorly under eating, just like I had been for
Sure.
years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can't reduce their calories anymore. I
Yeah.
have to teach them I want to teach them how to eat intuitively, but I also need to teach them about their bodies because like they got to know that they got to eat protein. And so it kind of just it sort of just evolved to where I was eventually like, okay, gosh, the problem is actually their metabolism. It's slow, right? Like they're already under eating. And so the problem isn't what they're eating. The problem is that their metabolism sucks and their mindset is just like their relationship with food. And so it kind of just went there. It wasn't like there was a moment where I was like, oh, I'm going to focus on metabolism. It was just, I realized that was the problem.
The root.
That was the root problem
Okay.
of it all
Okay.
Was
Very Sherlock Holmes of you.
yes,
Okay.
your metabolism is not good. And I thought to myself, well, what a fun thing to market. Like I'm not marketing going on a diet. I'm not marketing taking things away. I'm marketing how can we increase your metabolism instead of decrease your calories? That sounds awesome. Everybody wants a good metabolism, right? You associate metabolism with being young and feeling good. So that's kind of how it developed.
Gosh, freaking genius. Okay, this is my brain. Again, my marketing brain is firing off on all cylinders because you're right. I think a lot of the dieting world, I think it's getting better, but I do think a lot of the body dieting industry made the person the villain. Like just close your mouth, don't eat that. Da da da. Like it's me. I'm the problem. I don't. You know what I mean? You said, wait a minute, wait a minute. What if you're not the problem? What if this thing exterior, the metabolism, which is not like, I almost felt like it was safer to focus on this concept with a personification effect. My metabolism is broken. Oh no, but guess what? We can do something about it. Oh yay. And I'm not the villain of this narrative.
Yes.
Because that was
Yes.
the problem, is we were villainizing our own customers, making them feel worse than they already felt.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not helping anything, especially a female base like that. Damn, like,
I know. Well, and if you can teach people how their bodies work, it just kind of makes sense. It's like, well, this is how your metabolism works. This is how your blood sugar works. This is how all these things work. Once you have an understanding of that, you can sit back and say, well, damn, like no wonder I feel like crap all the time. No wonder I haven't been able to stick to this diet. And you just start connecting the dots in your brain.
Everything. Well, yeah, the paradigm shifts. The way that you see the world. I saw the world in blue, and now I see it in pink and Technicolor. It's like pre Barbie, post Barbie movie. Like it just like, it's really exciting. But again, it's the metabolism is now. It's like I don't want to do this for me, but if you gave me the compelling argument that I was doing on the betterment of my child, I'd sign up for anything, right? It's like, it's the thing that I care about on the outside of me, and it takes away the stigma. So my metabolism, poor metabolism, woe is the metabolism. It's been wildly underserved. It's been accidentally damaged because of all of this bullshit, marketing and, crap industry lingo, this, that. And here you are as this like breath of fresh air, because it's not a negative take, it's a positive take. We want to because everything's negative, right? Like, calorie restrictions, negative. Decrease on, like, everything is a negative thing. But you said, let's increase your metabolism, which also, correlates with you actually increasing how many times you eat. And like, it's like, what? It was just, I can see how that would be so wildly different than the majority. So you were punching conventional wisdom right in the throat without even identifying yourself as a marketer. I just want to say
thank you.
Give credit where credit is due. That's actually fantastic. And then again, I'm also like you. I like a double sound. So Rainmaker Residency, Metabolism Makeover.
I love an alliteration.
Can't help myself.
Same.
Okay, so we're doing, so Metabolism Makeover is the baby. You put in your reps. You curate and refine that baby forever and ever, even before, like you said, it is what it is today. But take me again to social media, because we have an angle. You're clear on your messenger style, that you couldn't just emulate and model other people and have success. It had to be authentically the Megan's way of communication, right? Like, I need to express myself. You do a really beautiful job, I think, at mixing both what you do professionally, but you also, there's definitely lifestyle pillars in there, because I see your little girl, I see you on vacation, like you take me into your home, you're a mom just like I am. Like, is that intentional? Or like, walk me through how you decide what's going on the content calendar on any given week.
Yeah, I want people to see how to take the information that I'm giving them, because I'm a teacher at the end of the day. Primarily, I like to teach. I like to teach you how your body works. I like to teach. But then I want to show you very naturally how that actually fits into your life. So I'm really just the example, and I like to do that because it's really easy to hand somebody a blueprint and say, this is what you're supposed to do. But if you don't know what to do with it and you don't understand it, that's how the information can really sink into your brain and into your subconscious, which is where we make most of our decisions. We don't make most of our decisions from our conscious mind. So we have to, number one, we have to understand it on a pretty deep level. And then we have to actually know how that's going to work in our own environment. And so, I look around, I could like walk around my home and say, okay, here's my, the 2 proteins that I prepped yesterday. Let's pull those out. Let's show that, like, this is what I did. Or like, maybe I'm actually prepping my proteins and I'm just, showing myself doing it. And it's not like some big sales pitch. There's nothing there. It's just like, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it.
Come with me to my kitchen.
Come with me to my kitchen.
Yeah.
This is what I do on vacation. This is what I do.
That
Like,
was some of my favorite content, by the way, when you went on vacation. I actually remember distinctly where you're like, when I go on vacation, I focus on protein and fiber. I was like,
easy. Like,
yeah,
not easy when you're on vacation, right? But like, also that's like one thing, or I guess two things
great
that you have
goal.
to
Yeah.
remember. And if you're not perfect, who cares? You're on vacation, but we've got we've got a goal. We've got just
Yeah,
a
no, I
little micro
know.
goal. Yeah.
I loved it. Well, yeah, because the goal wasn't, calorie counting. It was just
No.
like when I go, I focus on protein and fiber. I was like,
Yeah.
that's so simple, so doable, so invitational. Like it's an invitation that seems like I actually can win at that game.
Yeah.
Yay, it's a fun game that I get to play because you've made it that way, right? So that was actually when I saw that when you were on vacation. I thought it was chef's kiss.
Nachos and
Okay.
skinny margaritas, like
Not just,
every
yeah,
day, but like
yep, you
double
love your
chicken,
nachos.
whatever. Okay.
Hey Rainmakers, it's Veronica, and we'll get back to today's episode. But before that, I have an exciting invitation for all of you aspiring, ambitious marketing leaders. If you are serious about advancing your career in marketing and you're looking for an expert to give you some personal insights, guidance, tips, then I'm going to invite you to schedule a free Pathway to Promotion call with me. This is a special one-on-one call with just you and me to discuss your current roadblocks in your career, your long-term aspirations and ambition, and the next best step for you and your personal promotion. Head to pathwaycall.com or click the link in my show notes to schedule your free Pathway to Promotion call. Now back to today's episode. We talk about boundaries.
Yeah.
This has come up a lot with other moms, especially one of my former clients, Jordan Page, has a bazillion kids. I've worked with a lot of personalities that is also, they model their life and they invite you into their room and they invite you into their laundry room and it's wildly successful. As the kids age, it then becomes a little bit more of a conversation of like, well, where's the boundary? Where's the line? You are a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
You have this precious little girl. Where have you even wrestled with this topic about her privacy, what you're willing to disclose, what you're not going to put on social? Like I think that one's something that I would say I've also wrestled with. I know Jenna Kutcher recently won't even show her kids' faces anymore because of safety issues. So like,
yeah,
if you feel comfortable sharing that.
Yeah, I have thought about this quite a bit. And I think it's one of those things that for me, I just continually go back to it. Like, why am I showing this? Is it self-serving? Is it, I'll be honest with you, like, she's only 4.5, but she freaking loves it. She's just like, Mom, like, now that doesn't necessarily mean that, we have to do things also to protect our kids. Currently, I feel safe doing it. Currently, I feel okay with it. It's just something that I'm going to continually go back to. It's hard because, it's like that is such a massive part of my life. It's just her and I. And it's something that I continually hear from others, like, that's something that connects them to me. And okay, if you can do it, I can do it. There's just like, it's such a massive part of my story. So, it's something I think that I'll just continue to revisit.
Yeah. Like intuitive eating, intuitive parenting.
Intuitive parenting, intuitive eating. I know.
No, and I say that without any type of judgment too, because it is, I used to post more about the boys, and there was one day where it was like they were in their floaties and we were in the pool, and some woman on the internet was like, I hope you guys drown. And it was, I'm like, I'm not even an influencer. What the hell? Like, but so like, I know that when you put yourself out there and the account is publicly set, like, I understand that there are psychotic human beings on the internet that will do or say really horrific things. And I think that's always just like the back of your mind. But I'm with you. Like, you're her mother. It's your business. It's your life. It's her life. Like, just like we intuitively feed ourselves, intuitively feel out what needs to be done at any season of life, right?
Yeah.
Goodness. Okay. I have to ask you about content creator fatigue. When I work with very content prolific creators, when I'm usually behind the scenes as a private rainmaker or in some kind of capacity, usually behind the curtain of, how things are at the factory, this comes up a lot where my visionaries, they are the attractive character. They're the primary spokesperson for their company. If it's a social media based company, it's very heavy on like, you got to be on, face to camera, let's go, even if you're not feeling it. So don't tell me you don't have it, but I'm curious, like, how do you manage it? Because again, we all have it, but like, how have you gotten yourself out of funks? How have you managed yourself so it doesn't like have those negative psychological consequences that can really pull people under? It requires a lot.
It does. And I
Mm-hmm.
most certainly experience this. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not immune to it. So when I'm experiencing this, I have to pull myself out of the like, this is what I should be posting. Okay,
Mm.
we're launching, we're this, we're that. Like, this is, and I have to just sit and I meditate, like, and I journal almost every day, by the way. And this is a big part of it. It's just sitting there and it's like, okay, what is it? What do they need to hear today? And I'll ask. I don't care if it's God or whoever you want, but what do they need to hear? And I'll be really honest with you. I connect with Archangel Gabriel. I ask him to come in. He helps me communicate. He's the archangel for communication. And I'm like, what do they need to know today? And sometimes it's not what you're supposed to post, right? Or it's just, it may be something completely off the wall. And I'm like, I don't care. This is what I'm saying today. This is what's coming through today.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't feel like getting on camera, maybe I will pull like a carousel. I have someone on my team that I'll throw ideas to. She makes me post. And when I don't feel like freaking posting, I will go grab one of those. So there's that as well. Or maybe I just want to get on and talk for a little bit. And I know damn well that post is not going to go viral. It's not going to do anything, but I'm going to do it anyways. And guess what? There's also days that I take a break. So
Good.
I've gone through dry spells. And sometimes honestly, it's a matter of, I might just come across somebody on social media that's inspiring me. And I recently bought a course. I haven't bought a course in forever, but I was like, I'm just gonna like buy a social media course and just get some inspiration. Maybe that's what I need. So there's little things that I'll do to just kind of.
I think that's the thing too, like know thyself. And so the one thing that is very apparent in this conversation together is like, you are wildly selfless in that if you literally listen to yourself back on this podcast, Megan, you can hear yourself like, if it's not in the service of someone besides my damn self, I'm not interested. Like that, you can tell that's like your big motivator, to the point where you will channel a heavenly power to make sure that person is being served, which is so cool, right? And I think that's really cool and vulnerable that you share that. So thank you. It's funny for me, sometimes like what I've discovered about myself is when I am talking to no one, it's the worst. It is literally the worst. And so when I need to create content in isolation, that's why like you won't see me as a vlogger, because like literally me talking to a camera or all my social media was struggling so poorly because it was all dependent on me talking to like a device in my room, in my office, in my house, and I just, it's the worst of me. The best of me is when I'm in communication with people that I'm like having fun with and jiving with and da-da-da. And so even for us recently, we now meet every single Monday in what we call the V-Hive Rage Fest. And literally it's me with my team, and the goal is to make me mad or piss me off or just to talk about random stuff that's happening because it's funny. Like this morning we had our Rage Fest and we talked about what happened over the weekend with politics, and we talked about this really cool ad that made us feel good about our bodies that ASICS did, and like we're just conversing, and I'm just talking to them, and the camera just happens to be on.
That's so cool.
But it took me how many years to get to that?
Yeah.
So like because I'm like you, I identify as a teacher, a speaker, right? Like a communicator. It's in the art of communication where my energy is fed because I'm feeding off your energy. And so when that is not available to me, it's the shittiest content that I could possibly produce. And I've had to learn that about myself. And so the more that I've come behind the scenes of different really prolific content creators, I'm realizing everybody does it just a little bit tinged different, which is why it's so hard to like listen to one person, how they do it and apply it, because we're all so radically different. Like I've never heard a story like yours actually, ever.
Really? Well, there you go.
Not like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool, and it's a testament to obviously why it works, because I really do think at a very subconscious level, people like we're a moth to a flame when it comes to authenticity, but also conviction. And like you're really trying really hard to not make it about you, even though it is an account with your face on it, which is so cool. Like the oxymoronic quality of that, like it's a paradoxical situation. And I think that's badass. Okay, you brought up team. Who supports you? Who protects you? Because that's like another big thing. Like who's watching your six? Who's protecting the queen bee? Like what's your beehive like?
Yes, I have. Well, her name's Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
I have a amazing team. We probably have, I would say, let's see, at six core team
Mm-hmm.
members, and then
Mm-hmm.
a sprinkling of
Hands,
others.
yeah.
But I have one. My COO is also my energy
Yes.
protector. She,
See?
yes, she is, and she is loud and proud about it. She will come in. I mean, she'll do it to me. She'll be like, Megan, you're not doing this,
Mhm. Mhm. Oh,
And I know, yes. And then I also have my sister works full time for me, and she is really the front facing person to all of our customers. So she's kind of that barrier to the customers and the clients,
I love that.
and just like lets in what needs to be
Mhm.
let in, and just
Handles the
everything
rest.
else is just
Yeah.
protect Megan. Yeah. So yeah, that's I have a COO. I have two admins. One being
Yeah.
my sister,
Yeah.
being like,
Yeah, but that's amazing. I love how you described it right from the jump. You didn't give me a title. You said she's my energy protector.
she is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And I think this is something about team dynamics that is the intangibility. I think a lot of people will hire these very big organizing type of human beings to come in and do SOPs and do systems and processes and blah, blah, blah. And not to say that things aren't important, but there is this intangibility around dream teams that it's hard to articulate. Like, I need somebody to watch my back. I
Yeah.
need somebody to protect my energy. I need somebody to like pick me off the effing ground when I need to be picked off the ground. That's not in a job description.
No.
That's a relationship dynamic that is unique and not found everywhere. And yeah, I just love that how you said that, because that's what I have found with content creators such as yourself, that if there is no trust, aka energy protectors that will hold you and hold that space around you, like Sailor Moon, I don't even know style, like you guys burn out way
Yeah.
faster than the majority. You just do, because there's just no safety within the walls of your own
Well,
company.
you need to have people who genuinely have so much buy-in in the actual
Yeah,
company. Nobody's going to care about your company like you do, but
yeah.
you got to get people that are close. Like that is the
Mm.
key. Because if I go down, then the company
Yep,
goes down. It's not
yep,
just about like, oh, got to make sure Megan's okay. It's like, no,
yeah. High
we got to
risk.
make sure the company's okay. And for the company to
Yep.
be okay, Megan has to be okay.
Yeah, no, you're 100%
Yeah.
right. It's high stakes.
Yes.
And I think it takes emotional maturity for somebody to understand that without it like this is not an ego thing.
Mm-mm.
You're not a narcissist. It's not an egomaniac that's like, I need my precious celery water in the morning. Stop. Like that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about like, I am the designated face of this company. I am the spokesperson for this brand. And if I don't do and I don't perform that function, we're all in trouble, right? Like
Yeah.
the whole company will suffer. And by extension, when I say company, I'm not talking even like, yes, the P&L, but I'm saying if company suffers, the people that the company was set up to serve also suffer.
Yeah.
Women that are being lied to, that feel horrific about themselves and their bodies, will also not be served. And now they will be put in a position where unethical health practitioners basically claim them as their own.
Yep.
So like it's high stakes. It is high stakes for multiple reasons,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
I know that I get more time with you, and so do the members of my program, because if you're coming to the
Yes.
event, they're going to pick your brain. So I'll just kind of end with this, final question. And then the last question is always for our guests to ask. But like, if people are frustrated right now with social media, they've bought the courses, they've tried to model, they've tried to find their authentic voice, like it's painful. It was for me, just like, I swear, like a couple months ago, I was like, blah. How do you break them out of that funk? Where's the hope? Is it top 3 things that you would adjust? Like where,
Mm.
it's not about calorie restrictions, it's about metabolism. It's like,
Yes.
what's that story for social media for you?
Yes. So go talk to your people. Go out and talk. When you were talking at the beginning, I didn't interrupt you, but I was just going to say, I just did a whole talk on this at a sales conference. Get to know them again. I don't care how long you've been in business. I want you to pick up the send a message
Mm-hmm.
with a Zoom link or your phone number
Mm-hmm.
to your top 10 ideal clients and get on a freaking call with them.
Mm.
Why? What does their transformation look like? Why did they hire you?
Mm-hmm.
What, like, get to know them, because
Mm-hmm.
that's going to give you all the content that you need. And it's not just that, but it's going to light a fire under your butt.
Mm-hmm.
And all the strategy is great. It's good. There's plenty of people you can go to for strategy, but if you don't feel that inside of you, it's really hard to
Yeah.
show up
Yeah.
every day.
I couldn't agree more. When you distance yourself from the people that you're serving, that's why
Yeah.
they say, like, especially in publicly traded companies, like the boardroom in a big old office in the tower has no business making decisions without consulting the people on the front lines in the store, in the kiosk, who are actually talking to customers directly. Like, you can't do both. You can't sit at the highest level and then also not still be in the trenches, at least communicating with the people that you're serving. I was talking to a private client about this on one of our, I think, a power hour I was doing, I can't remember, but like, there's this really beautiful moment that I like to survey or ask questions, and it's when a prospect turns into a customer for the very first time. So most of the time, sometimes people you'll do like surveys or voice of customer feedback or research when somebody's still like lurking and following and might not have any business to buy from you, who knows. And then, or you survey your lifelong customers who would buy anything from you no matter what you'd say. So like, they're also too enthusiastic that like they can't really give you concrete data. But there's this really very quick moment in time where somebody buys from you for the first time. So they're jumping from prospect into customer lane. And this is the moment where like they're almost like one foot in one reality and one foot in the other, because they're behind the paid wall, but they're barely behind the paid wall. They're still like thinking, like they're still in dating mode versus married mode. And so it's kind of like, why did you buy? Like, no, but for reals.
Yes.
Why did you buy? Not why you like, because now you don't know if it's still fulfilled yet. Like, why? What was the final thing that broke the camel's back? Like, why did you pull the trigger? Why now? Why didn't you put it off? What are you hoping to get? Like, there's this really brief moment between prospect world and customer world where you get to ask the really poignant questions that can affect everything on both sides.
Yes. Yeah. That's it.
Just saying.
That's it right there.
And you do that and you seek it out and you seek it proactively and regularly. And here you are, you're 38, you started at 31, 7 years later, still killing it.
Yeah. There you go.
Crushing it. Okay. What question, the tide has turned.
Yeah.
The power's in your hands. What question would you like to ask?
Well, what did you do when you were in a funk on social media? What was the moment that shifted things for you? Was it mental? Was it strategy? What was it?
No, I can tell when I'm in a funk, when I just don't want to show up at all. Like, I got nothing to say.
Sure.
Nobody gives a crap. But like, I just, to me, when I feel like it's wildly trivial, I'm like, like when I'm having that language, like, who cares? It's when it's that negative self-talk where I'm like, I'm in dire straits. And I was really just not loving it. I felt like I was doing best practices. Like, I was showing up and I was posting because that's what you do. And I took the photography. I would book a big photography session, for brands. And I would, have that bank of images for the next 6 months. Like, I was just doing all the stuff that I saw everybody else was doing when I was working with these big socially forward companies that had millions of followers. And we did a team retreat in April this year with my team. And we were all in pajamas sitting on the couch. And one of my, Casey, she just had her baby. So there's like a brand new newborn on the couch. Like, I mean, it's just us and, raw. And I was like lamenting to the team about like how much I think my social media sucks. And I'm like, I just don't think it's reflective. It's certainly not working. I'm stuck at 19.2 followers for the last 2 years. Like, this is it's clearly stale, stagnant, dead. And one of our team members, or one of the girls that we've worked with for a really long time, she's now in Hawaii. We call her Chizzo. It's her nickname, Jessica. And she was like, yeah, no offense, but your Instagram is like Diet Coke Veronica. I was like, Diet Coke Veronica? She's like, yeah, nobody wants to drink. We want like the full Mexican, full of sugar Coke, like in a glass bottle. It's like, oh shit. It was such a beautiful little word truffle, the way that she put it. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm showing up like super Diet Coke V. Like I'm
Yeah.
not Diet Coke anything. Like if you and I are hanging in real life, that's not me. Like
Yeah.
I'm Cuban and I'm an eldest daughter and I'm an Enneagram 8 and I'm all these fun things. And like, that's not visible for anyone to really see unless you're in the room with me. And I need more of those things. But how do where does that part of me show up the most? And it's in energetic alignment with people that I like want to jam out with and play with and hang out with. And so we scrapped the entire, like I had agency this and like the whole system gone. And then it turned into the weekly Monday Rage Fest.
Yeah. Yes.
With the team. And it wasn't mandatory. Like anybody who wants to show up and just like chit to the chat and hang out. And so like, you know, my 1099 contractors just come for fun.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even like, they're not forced.
Yeah.
They come for fun. And we talk about crazy stuff and we have fun and the camera just happens to be on. And that's the content that we're putting down. And that's the content that I feel is authentically me. And it's, I think, working. So I've gotten more podcast requests or more invitations to speak, or I've had more peers in the industry go, I saw what you said about this and I freaking loved it. Like I've had more relationship marketing feedback than I've ever had than even like social media growth, which is also something that's changed for me. I don't give two F's about number of followers. What I care about is that did something emotionally connect with you? Did you share it with a friend? Did you take the time to stop and go, I really love what you said? Did you want to argue with me about it? Like, well, I don't agree. I'm like, ooh, those are even my favorites.
Yeah.
Like when we can actually have like an in-depth conversation around your opinion on the subject, because I shared my opinion. Like that is actually the qualitative things that I care about more than just the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. I care if it resonated.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. So that's been a game changer, was lovingly having a team member say that it was Diet Coke, Veronica. But to your point, if you trust the people in the room and your inner sanctum, then when they say that, you don't take it like, it doesn't crush you. It like fuels you and challenges you. And then you say, well, how can we make it better? And you're just widely open to whatever they have to say because they have your best interests at heart.
Yeah. Well, you were doing the shoulds.
Yes.
And anytime we're shoulding, we're not doing well. We're not being authentic, you know?
No.
So, yeah.
No, you're right. Okay. I adore you. Thank you. We've already gone way over, and that's just because of quality of conversation. And I just really appreciate you. I appreciate what you do, both in a professional sense, but just putting your private life out there for us to gain. And it is, I'm going to tell you, it's funny, even before we were introduced, I had already discovered your account and I had already started following it because I really liked what you stood for and I liked your positioning and I liked how it made me feel in contrast to the other stuff that I had tried that didn't work. And so even before we were introduced by a mutual friend,
wow,
and now we're friends, I was kind of already in awe of what you were doing in a professional like role.
Aww.
And so I think that says a lot because I'm picky. And
I am too.
Great.
I only follow like 140 people, so.
So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for our friendship. I'm grateful for you being on this podcast. And if anybody's listening, go right now to Instagram, Megan the Dietitian or Metabolism Makeover. You will find her in all of her pink, beautiful glory. And thank you for being on today's Rainmaker podcast. Thank you for joining us on today's Rainmaker podcast. Marketers help other marketers. So if there's a marketer in your life who could really use a new perspective in a way that helps them advance their career, please pass this episode forward, share, leave us a review. Everything helps as we embark on helping as many marketers elevate themselves inside and out. You can always visit veronicarami.com for today's show notes, additional links to some free resources and tools for you to help you advance your career. You can always connect with us on social media at @ViaRami if you want more behind the scenes or a way for us to connect personally. Until next time, my friends, make it rain.